Tonight, we are talking about mastering the art of storytelling. Whether you're looking to refine your brand's narrative or craft a compelling new identity, tonight's episode is one you don't want to miss. Stay tuned.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
And welcome to tonight's episode of the Better Your Business Show. We are happy that you are here. I am Natalie, your host, and my PIC, the coach for business herself, Miss Shanna Mavis.
Hey, Natalie.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. It's that time already. I'm getting hyped up.
Yes.
How was the week so far?
I am having a great week, actually. Yeah, really great week. It's been super, super busy. I have just been going by both ends, but that's okay. Wearing a lot of different hats. If I'm not wearing a lot of different hats, I can do a lot of things if I can just stay focused for a long period of times. It's when I have to keep shifting focus that I become grouchy. Maybe a little unbearable for the people around me.
It's a little different than the last couple of weeks for you when you were like, oh, just getting out of the pool. Right? It's like time for the show. Let me go get ready for that. So yeah, welcome to most of our lives here. Okay, so tonight we are talking about branding and storytelling. And I'd love, I found out about our guest expert, Daniel, through David Richardson. He's been on Business Credit. Now he's got the Business Blueprint guys. And he was just singing Daniel's praises. He was just talking about how great he was. And, when he said that, I was like, okay, one, if he's telling me, I believe it, right? That means that he spent time with him. He understands what he's got going on. And then getting a chance to spend a little bit of time in a couple of rooms with him and hearing just how he communicates and his passion for storytelling. And with us before the show, and those of you that join our community and Rescore, you'll get a chance to see our pre-show convo with him. He told us a little bit about his background, and it's fascinating to think, to see how passionate he is, and recognizing his desire to help small or business owners in general. But he's been where they are, right? It was some of the story that he told. It was just like many of us have been there, not really understanding, seeing that we've got these skills and we've got this passion and desire, but we're not making it. How can that be? So it's fascinating to me, and I'm excited to hear what he's got to share, with everyone here.
Yeah, definitely. It was interesting to hear his feedback to me because he's extremely talented, as you guys will see, extremely talented. And I thought, to me, who would say no? Right? I mean, especially because what he does is so visual. It's like, who would say no to that? And so when he was talking about, different things he had to go through, it's just interesting to see too, that really everything is perspective. And it was interesting because I said to him, clearly you're talented. And he was like, well, I don't even look at myself that way. I've worked hard to achieve the things that I've had, but it's like, he's going places, but no matter what, because he's definitely a talented person, and it's exciting to see what he's created, and then to hear all the hard work that he's put into it. He's not a one-hit wonder; he's the real deal. So, I'm excited to learn more about storytelling tonight.
Me too. Hopefully, he'll tell us some stories.
Yeah,
I will be real disappointed, Daniel. He's backstage. If you don't tell us at least one story. Do you want to go ahead and bring him in so that we can have a conversation about it?
Let's bring him in. Are you going to share his background? Oh.
Daniel with Mr. J Studios. I honestly don't know how long I do know how long he's been in business, but I cannot remember. But that doesn't matter. What matters is how good he is at what he does, and just the way that he understands branding, and how, just from an artist perspective, there's a difference there. Technology is great, but he understands art and how everything just meshes together. But I will stop talking about Daniel, and let's let Daniel talk about Daniel for a minute.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show, Daniel.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Good. We're excited that you're here and to talk about
Is there an issue?
Storytelling.
What's that?
You might be freezing. Carlton, maybe change the screen. He might be freezing. Are you freezing?
Am I lagging?
It was a little bit. I think we might be okay now.
I can see you guys.
Okay.
We can see you, but it was like that.
Technology, man.
How are you?
Oh, no. I'm doing great. I was really enjoying our conversation before, and I'm excited to continue it and get into some questions and some creative conversations and see how many tangents and rabbit holes we can go into.
Oh, plenty. And if we had, we've got to keep Carlton backstage, because tangent and rabbit hole, that's his jam right there. One of the things that we were talking about before the show, that you started talking about social media, and how that's impacted branding for many businesses. I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about that, because that's one of the questions I had, is with, the changes and in trends and social media and technology in general. People are out there looking for something, and they're not afraid to talk about, whatever is on their mind, which could be damaging. So I'd love to hear your perspective on how branding has changed, the importance of maintaining consistency in your brand, and just diving a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, there was no conversation between the customer and the corporation. There was a degree of separation between the actual owners of the entity and the people who they provided services for or products. Once social media came out, that was kind of all over, because you started to develop an influence as an individual, and you could say something about an experience you had, and then all of a sudden it damaged that company. And so companies had to think very quickly and change their process and their approach to how they deal with everyday customers, because an everyday customer can ruin your reputation as a business. It really only takes a few of them to pile up, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, word of mouth spreads, and it spreads a lot faster with social media, and then you don't have people coming to your business anymore. So people had to, businesses and business owners had to humanize their brand. They had to make them relevant and relatable and engaging and empathetic. And then you start getting into things like, like Carl Jung's, archetypes, jester and magician, and, understanding your brand identity and how that applies to the story you tell to the people that you're trying to help or you're trying to provide a service for.
So how do you, and I guess I'm curious about protecting your brand, and then just the consistency across it, because I know that, a lot of companies will post on there, here are my brand guidelines if you want to grab their logo or that, but it's beyond that. How do I, as a small business owner, protect my brand? How do I ensure that across every channel it's consistent, people know who I am? Are there any tips or suggestions that you have?
Yeah, hire me. So what you're going to want to do in situations like that, right? What you're actually asking right now, beyond just the visual identity part of it, right? Because, that's super important, and that does, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So the images that you use and the style that you choose to portray into all of these channels and all of those different touch points are super important. But more importantly, it's about your messaging framework. And a lot of times when I talk about story, and this is something even I had to learn recently, like within the last few months, even when people talk about brand story, they're not talking about the story of the brand. They're not talking about like how the founder made the business and anything like that. The story is the story of the customer or client that you're serving, right? You're framing your story through your marketing, through your sales, through whatever. You're tailoring it to your ideal client or customer. It's their story of how they're going to find you and how you're going to solve their problem. And then furthermore, it's about the messaging, it's about the words you choose to use to engage with those people and making sure that it's consistent across all of those different touch points. A lot of people, a lot of brand strategists will use like brand decks or some sort of brand guideline that showcases each and every aspect of your brand and how it's engaging with the client and customer. And then that's not just for the external; it's also for the internal, so that your employees, your partners, whoever it is that's working with you and within the organization, also understands how you're supposed to communicate with
Yeah.
those people so that it's cohesive, right? The values that you stand by, they also need to stand by them. And they need to act in accordance with those for the long term. Otherwise, you're going to have a disjunction, and you're eventually going to have issues with the clients or customers, because they're going to be like, well, I'm getting one experience here with this person, but another one over here. I don't like this experience, and it just takes the one bad experience. It could be 99%. This isn't a passing grade. This is a pass or fail world. There is no, oh, we almost got it. It's like, no, you got it or you didn't. Like there's no in between.
I love the point that it's more than just that visual imagery. What your brand is more than just that, and looking at it from the customer's perspective, who it is, how do they interact with it, how do they find you, all of those pieces telling their story in light of what your offering is, or I think that's amazing, because I don't think it's something that a lot of business owners really think about, and until you said it, it was just like, oh yeah, because I'm thinking visually, but it's more than that. And I think that's a big challenge that we face a lot of the times anyway, is the confusing marketing and branding, and not really understanding the difference between the two. So that, yeah, I'm glad you said that. I think that's
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap between the two of them. You're definitely right, and it's difficult to differentiate between marketing and branding. The easiest way I have learned to differentiate is branding is a strategy and marketing is a tactic, right? Marketing can change, right? It's the difference between your slogan and your tagline. Your tagline represents your business. It should be there pretty much as long as your values. A lot of businesses still have the same tagline 30 years in the future, but your branding, right? That needs to stick. Your marketing is something it could change. A perfect example would be like Old Spice. Old Spice changed their marketing approach and their brand strategy, but they still stand for the same things. They're still a deodorant, you know what I mean? They're still a body wash company, wherever they are, hygiene, men's hygiene. But they went from being like the kind of like old your dad's kind of run of the mill brand to now like my age, like I have Old Spice. I use Old Spice, and it's like, what happened? You know what I mean? When did it change? They changed their approach, and that's kind of a slight difference. They did change some of their branding, but it's mostly a marketing change. How they were marketing, how they were sending that message out.
Can you give an example of changing the framework on the messaging to be about the customer story? Can you give an example of what that would sound like?
So I mean, the only thing that I was trying to make a point about was the difference between, a lot of people think brand story is the founder's message. I made this brand, we went, did that, and this is how we made the company, versus the story that you're actually telling is the story of a customer. Like if you think of a commercial, it could be for like a car commercial, right? The commercial isn't of the founder or an owner or someone who has lots of money. Right? The story is of a person who is struggling, and their car is broken down, or their car doesn't work, or their car, whatever the story is, doesn't matter. Whatever the pain point is, and the solution is a new Lexus for your wife on Christmas. You know what I mean? Like that's the story, right? That's the story of the customer. It's the customer getting a new car and gifting it to his wife or whatever. It doesn't matter. That's the story. That's the example.
Got it. Stories sell. Facts tell, stories sell.
Stories do sell. Because I remember when I was working, I was in charge of sales and marketing, and we were looking at it, and we had, and just from the marketing standpoint, the story that our competitors were telling, and they had and I don't mean this in a, I guess, comparatively speaking, when we talked to clients that had tried both, they had a worse product, but they told a better story. And so it opened our eyes to how we needed to change our messaging, and start telling the story about how the customers would benefit more, using some of the language that was resonating with them. It caused us to go through this entire revamp of the way that we were talking about, this product. And it had nothing to do with necessarily anything about the functionality or anything like that. It was just, here's how you'll use it. Here's how we want you to see yourself, with less stress, with more time on your hands, with fewer errors. It was really getting them to understand this is how you'll use it, versus the way that we were pushing it before. Feature. You're going to love it because we love it, basically. Right. So there's a big difference in that. I guess I had a question about, how do you effectively tell your story without when everything changes? Like, we talked about the pandemic before. Any number of things could happen. Your business will evolve and grow, but how do you effectively continue to tell the right story without changing your core identity, without really changing who you are?
Yeah.
How do you adjust?
Good question.
Okay, so three things. I want to jump back real quick first off and touch on something that Natalie had said about stories, right? You guys are talking about how story sells. The reason why stories sell is because stories are how we think. They're how we relate to each other. They're how we communicate. We perceive reality in stories, right? The most important things that we do is logged in a story. Why do you think movies are so popular? Video games are so popular, TV shows, right? Books, literature. I mean, the things that construct our entire society's religion and spiritual beliefs are stories. And so that's why it's so important to understand storytelling and apply it to business, because without it, you're missing the most crucial element of being a business, which is empathy. How do you relate to somebody else? And that's what humanizing your brand is. Secondly, and I hope I get all of these things. Secondly, the thing that you were talking about, Shanna, it was what was it? Oh my goodness.
The sob story,
Oh, the
basically.
changing of your messaging. The changing of your messaging, right? How you were approaching from the sales and marketing perspective, you were getting beaten out by a competitor because they were just telling a better story. The reason why they were telling a better story is, this comes back to the foundations of the brand elements that create your business, is the why, right? Apple versus Microsoft is a perfect example. Apple beat out Microsoft often because they just told a better story. their product wasn't anything, it wasn't like scores better. They weren't doing anything, Apple didn't even manufacture or make anything. They really just put a bunch of stuff together into one device. Other people made it. I'm serious. They put it together and it was something new. They didn't invent touchscreens or cameras or any of that stuff, right? So, and then lastly, your last question was, how do you change without affecting permanently or negatively your core identity without changing that, right? So, I mean, that's a difficult question because there are ways to move certain aspects of your brand around to fit you and to make your branding more robust. But if you have a really bad problem with your branding, you kind of can't. What you're doing effectively is you're rebranding. You're going through a rebranding phase, and sometimes that's important. Sometimes you can. I'm doing it with Mr. J Studios right now.
Tell us about that, if you can, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, I've always understood branding from a designer's perspective. I picked up on it quickly because of sales, because a lot of what you do in sales, knocking on doors or consulting or whatever, it all applies to branding, right? It's all empathy. It's all understanding your customers' pain points, understanding how to solve the problem. If are they qualified, right? All of those things are just branding on a one-to-one. If you extrapolate that, your branding, you're talking about everyone who's going to engage with your brand over time. For me, I needed to learn that part of it. I needed to understand the nuance, the ebbs and flows of brand strategy as a brand strategist. I was looking at it from a designer's perspective and then as a sales perspective, and I needed to kind of grow and mature a little bit. And so I realized when I started really putting through my fine art and my visual storytelling aspect, that I was like, I'm missing story in a profound way. And so I realized that I went to school for game art and design, and I might as well leverage all of the skill sets that I got there, even though I didn't graduate and it wasn't what I was going to do with my life. And I'm applying it to my business now. And so every aspect of my business, it's going to be coming up here in the next week or two for sure, is going to be interactive. Everything's going to be interactive. Brand characters, AI, every touch point, you're going to be engaging with something or someone that is going to compel you to make a decision or engage with you in a way that is human. Oh, did I just freeze?
For a minute.
Oh no. Am I freezing, guys?
You're good.
Okay.
Oh no, I think okay.
Maybe it is my background. Maybe I can turn it off.
Okay.
Mine freezes when I have a background on. You can tell everyone that's your artwork in the back if you want. It's funny while he's taking care of that, just because his picture reminds me of it. I had taken my son to like a creative arts high school to see if he wanted to, go to this creative art high school because he's a writer. He writes music and stuff. And we got there and there were some kids out, and this kid walks up to me and shows me a picture, and it was similar to yours, and it was a black and white pencil drawing, and it was just mind-blowing. It looked like you printed it from the internet, right? And I was like, oh, I don't know, son, if you should be going to this school. These kids are like mega talented. I love you,
but okay. Okay.
That's so funny.
So I have a question about, just from a practical standpoint, when we talk about storytelling, it's not necessarily, here, it was a dark and stormy night, and, I'm up late at night and I'm worried about what are some ways that you can tell stories without it feeling cheesy or feeling, forced? What are some ways that, for almost any business owner, right? I'm not looking for industry specific. I'm just saying in general, what are some practices or practical steps to tell a story effectively via social media, or should it be social media? Should it be email? What, you know what I'm saying?
It can be anything, right? It really just comes down to your business model. What is your touch points? Like, what are they? What's your pipeline? How are you actually engaging with these people? And then furthermore, what you're actually asking is a brand development question. Because it's like, well, do you know what your brand personality is? Do you know what your archetype is? Like, do you know who your ideal clients are? Have you built out an audience persona, right? The more you know about the person and or persons that you're serving, right? What their problems are, and not just the ones that you're going to solve, but all the problems that lead them to your doorstep for you to solve, right? It's like it needs to be a fully fleshed out human being, and ask that, like, it answers itself, because the story you're going to tell, or however you're going to frame the messaging that is going to go out to them, is going to be easy, right? It's like therapy. If you're constantly talking to all of these different clients and all of these different customers that come through, and you're getting the feedback, and you're asking the right questions, and you're actively listening, they'll tell you the stories of how they got there. They'll tell you what it is that compelled them to buy your product or service or whatever. And then you have your story. Tell the story again. Tell it to somebody else, right? Use the testimonials. Use the reviews. People don't use reviews and testimonials for the right reasons. They use them as a case study for like trust with the next person that comes through. But that's unnecessary if you know how to talk to the person and solve the problem that they're actively searching for a solution to. So that's really more important. It's about understanding who your audience is, aligning with that audience, and then making sure that you're cohesive in understanding who you are as a business and what you stand for, and like, what is that personality? Like Mr. J Studios, we're a creator, right? We're the magician. That's the archetype that we chose, because obviously we're creative, we're innovative, and that's the feeling I want to invoke in people when they engage with my brand. And it's the thing that solves the problems in brand strategy, because your problems as a business are creative. They're complex, they're ever moving. It's a dynamic market. And so you need compelling and creative strategies to overcome those. But then you also need the strategic element to make sure that it's not impractical, or it's not going to take you off the rails down the line. And so those two things together, yeah, that's kind of why I chose that archetype. And understanding that personality as a brand makes it easier for you to align, solve the problems for your customers or clients, and then regurgitate that same story to other people.
That's awesome. All right. And perfect timing. Daniel, we so appreciate you being in here. Hopefully you'll stay for the second half. We've got a business owner coming in that is looking for ways to grow her online presence. We'd love to have you pitch in if you've got anything to add to it. But for now, we're going to jump into our Just Good Business segment. For those of you that aren't familiar, it's just companies that we've identified that are doing something that's others focused. It's beyond, just making money. So tonight's Just Good Business is this company in Springfield, Missouri called Askinosie Chocolate. And they have this chocolate university where they're bringing students and taking them over to Tanzania. And you get to see in this clip that we're going to play a little bit of their story.
Well, the interesting thing about what we've been doing, what the kids have been doing, is it's work. And these kids are not tourists in Tanzania. They're actually here working. Well, the interesting thing about what we've been doing, what the kids have been doing, is it's work. And these kids are not tourists in Tanzania. They're actually here working. And they're working on computers. They're working with wiring so that we can power all of the classrooms for laptops. And they've been working measuring height and weight and working bagging rice with Mwaya students, talking with them, laughing with them, and really developing relationships. And it's almost magical to watch them transform over the time that they're here and how much of an impact that this has on their lives.
This whole process, this whole experience has been absolutely life-changing.
It's just that they're exposed to this culture and to these people and to their hospitality and their friendship and their love, and it just does something to people, not just the kids, but the adults and all of us.
I love the people, and that's another thing I didn't expect. I expected to be so much of a difference between us that the gap between us could never be filled, and now I'm like, I feel part of this community now.
And if they're really on the fence about what they want to do with their lives or how they want to make their lives richer before they go to college, help them make decisions about what they want to do in life. Maybe they don't want to graduate from college and live in Africa for the rest of their lives, but maybe they want to find a way to serve people in America, to serve people in their community. And there's something about this trip that lights that spark and that gives people inspiration and imagination about what they can do and give their life meaning in the future.
I feel a little bit stronger about who I am, and I kind of am figuring out more of what I kind of want to do. I want to help others.
Because this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I'm so grateful that I got a chance to use it.
A wise man once asked, what if starting a business was like jumping out of a plane? And like 76% of businesses, what if 76% of parachutes failed before you reached the destination? What about those of you who have already jumped? Well, you may still have time to check your business. Pillar5.com, where businesses get it right. Our goal is simple, to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
All right, welcome
And we're back.
Yes.
Well, we're losing people left and right, but we're back. Daniel has dropped off. Carlton, who runs the back end, which would have saved us a little bit of time there because I clicked the wrong thing. He had to drop off, but we do have Kimberly from Kimberly's Keto Cakes in the house. So I'm excited that we'll get a chance to spend time with her. For those of you that are new to the show or haven't been in a while, what we started doing is bringing in a business owner. The Better Your Business Show wants to help business owners better their businesses. So we invited them. We invite anyone in. If you know anyone who might have challenges, want to gain the exposure for our audience. We were top 10% shared globally on Spotify. So you want to get in on this, let us know. We're happy to have you on there. But tonight, we're going to bring to the studio Kimberly from Kimberly's Keto Cakes. We're going to let her talk a little bit about her business. And then we've also got Sandra Connor, who is going to be popping in. She wants to offer some advice. We've got advice from coaches on different platforms where we just put it out there. But let's bring Kimberly in first.
Awesome.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Hello.
How y'all doing tonight?
So good. I'm so excited you're here because I traditionally follow a keto lifestyle. So I am all up on your website. And I loved hearing the story too about your grandmother's banana nut bread. It just made me think your baking's got to be good.
It is really good, y'all. It is really good. Okay, so Kimberly, tell us a little bit about how you got started. Tell us about your business, who you're trying to serve. Let the people know what this is all about, where they can find you, and then we will talk about some of the challenges.
Okay, so I started the keto diet in 2020. My mom and I needed to lose some weight, but she needed to lose some weight for a knee surgery. And so we started the diet together. and I was craving cake. And so my mom made a mug cake and sent me the recipe. And my husband would always make it for me. And he got tired. He was like, babe, I don't feel like it today. And so I went in the kitchen. I made my first keto cake. It was lopsided. It tasted funny, but I kept going. I let a friend taste it. She was like, girl, this sugar free. And she was like, you need to go downtown, get you a DBA, and start a business. And the rest is history. I started and I just kept going. By the third time, the cake started tasting good. So that's what I use today.
Awesome.
I absolutely love it. I've tried 2 different cakes that she's made, and I really want to try the banana pudding. And I'm going to be real particular, but that's why I want to try it, because I know I make really good banana pudding.
Uh-oh.
But when I saw that you had that recipe, I was like, okay, I got to check this out. But let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you're facing. I'm going to go ahead and, before I do that, I'll go ahead and bring Sandra to the screen so that she can be on here with us and join in. Hello, Sandra.
Hey, Sandra is doing great. How's everybody? Kimberly and Shannon.
Awesome.
Okay, so Kimberly, let's talk about some of the challenges you're facing. And we've got people in the audience as well to help.
Okay, so some of the challenges I've been facing is pricing. For at least 2 years, some of my good friends were like, Kim, do you know how much it costs to make your cake? I'm like, oh, no, I know how much my ingredients cost. They're like, but do you know how much it costs to make your cake? So about 4 minutes, I found out how much it costs to make my cake, and I cried for 2 days. I have been pretty much giving away cake. So, and some of the challenges I'm having with that is pricing. I had to go up, and I'm like, but I like my little bunts. I'm like, will people really pay this amount for the bunt cake? It's kind of small, but it's costing me a certain amount to make it. And if
right,
it's like I'm paying people $3. We're giving $3 away to eat the cake if I'm not pricing it the right way. And when people meet me, they was like, I didn't know that you were around. And I'm like, so exposure. And I'm like, my market is only social media and Google. So I don't know what else I should do. So that's it.
Are you getting consistent orders?
Ma'am?
Are you getting consistent orders?
It's a hit and miss sometimes. And it's like, now I kind of understand how it goes, because myself, I was on keto strong for 2 years, and then I fell off the wagon, and I've been trying to get back on for about 5 months. So it's like this. Some people are on keto for a short term. So it's always new customers. Around birthdays, holidays, I get a lot of orders. This month, it was pretty consistent, but not very consistent. So I do farmers markets to make sure I make money. So yeah, but online orders are not consistent. Not like I would like them to be.
And that's what you're trying to grow right now.
So yes, I'm like, I'm out here, y'all. If y'all want some cake, it's here. I need y'all to order.
Yeah, and because there's not a lot of keto dessert places.
It's not. The few that there are, they're home bakers. No one, there's one place that serves some keto cake, Unrefined Bakery. They have some keto options, but not just keto cake,
Okay. How many varieties of cake do you have, Kimberly?
About 7.
Okay. And are they all the same price and the same shape, or?
Well, they're all the same shape, but if it's like blueberry, it's a little extra. If it's caramel, it's a little extra because it costs a little extra to make. But every other cake is the same price.
Okay. Here's my first suggestion to you.
Okay.
Find out what the value of having a keto cake available is to the average person who eats it. So you mentioned at least one competitor. If there are others, do a little research online. Just Google or DuckDuckGo, which is my preference, keto cake, and see what comes up. So do some research and see what other people are charging. Now, do you ship outside your geographic area?
No, we're not allowed as a cottage law baker. We can't.
What does that mean?
That's
Cottage law means that you bake from home and your kitchen is not inspected by the FDA.
Okay. So that limits your reach.
So you'd have to be in Texas, or you have
I have
to
to be I mean, like I'm from Louisiana, and when I go there, as long as I'm the one selling it, it's okay. I only go to Louisiana and Texas to bake, to sell the cake.
Okay, so you deliver them or you ship them?
I do both.
Okay, got it. All right. So can you tell us what a price is? What's your most expensive cake today?
My most expensive cake is the 9-inch bundt cake, and it's $110.
Okay. $110 for the cake?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But
and what do you tell people that inspires them to buy one?
Well, I don't tell anybody anything.
Okay, so I'm trying to get to, how does one decide if you're on a keto diet and you've been craving dessert, and Kimberly's is just around the corner and you can get one? What will inspire you as the buyer of a cake to get in your car and go over to Kimberly's place and get a keto cake?
Okay, well, one, it's delicious. It's moist. You won't believe it's sugar-free, and you'll be back.
Okay. And that's part of the story you should tell. Do you have customer stories where people have gone, that is the best cake I ever put in my mouth, it was worth every penny?
That was what I was going to ask.
I'm telling you, I would order right now.
I have
It
some
looks delicious.
Like when I make a cake or if I deliver or ship, I always post it. And there's one customer that always comments. But my neighbor just told me, she said, Kim, when you get those text messages from the customers, share it on your social media. I'm like, that's kind of personal. She was like, no, that makes people want to buy. And when this lady that I did ship to commented up under it, like how wonderful all 3 products were, another lady read and she was like, well, I want one. I was like, maybe I do need to share these, I'm like, I don't know, because people don't write reviews no more. Something's happening. Hold on. I could share some of the messages I get, but I was a little scared to do it. I don't know why.
Don't be scared.
I have lots of them.
Testimonials are like gold.
Yeah.
Because people want to hear what other people think about something, and that can make the difference between whether or not they place an order or not.
Okay.
Now, you might want to get permission to use people's full names, but you can use first names or, Mr. Smith, Miss Smith, Dr. Jones, whatever, as long as they know it's a real person. And if you can get permission to use a photograph with it, that is wonderful. Yes.
All right.
Or show them eating the cake. There are a lot of ways to leverage that, but it doesn't cost you any money. That's the best part.
And I knew, like, a friend of mine told me also, why don't you ask them when they're at your farmer's market, when they take the first bite? Because the first thing they say is, I can't believe it's keto, or I can't believe it's sugar-free. I get that all the time. And when they do it, they kind of roll their eyes with it. I'm like, I need to really be capturing that, So,
right there.
I don't know why I'm so shy. Like, I'm not really shy, but it seems like when it comes to this business, it's like, I don't know.
One of the things that, what's that?
I was kind of dominating the conversation. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to ask a question, Sandra. I don't know if you know, because I know that Kimberly, you said, I think it was 6 different flavors that you have. Is that a good amount of flavors for a bake shop like that? Or would that be something that she should do, increase her amount of flavors? Because you're not the first keto bakery I've looked at. That caramel cake, the caramel turtle cake. Oh my God.
That's my newest flavor.
It's not right. That thing is sugar-free. Is that the one you had, Shanna?
No. I had a strawberry and I know I didn't eat chocolate. There was a strawberry cake, and I think it was vanilla. Just a regular cake with delicious frosting. Nothing but cakes. I mean, it was. You would think that that's almost what you were eating if you like that kind of thing. I could not believe it myself when she was saying that. It was so good. So you guys hear me saying this. I have tasted those cakes. I was at the farmer's market. I tasted her cakes. They are delicious.
So Kimberly,
I have a few over here and getting ready.
Cut this clip out.
What's that, Natalie?
I said, we'll cut this clip out and Kimberly can post
Yeah.
it. This is one of those moments.
You can share this. Absolutely. I give you my permission to let everyone know. I think those cakes are delicious. And if you're on a keto diet, you really do need to try it out, especially if you're in this area. So it's going to be limited to those of us who are like me here around where she is.
I'm sorry.
I can get one and ship it to you, Natalie.
Hey, okay. That's a good idea, actually. What do you think about that? Should she increase her flavors, or is that enough?
So I think she's got what she's got, right? And she's continuing to develop. So it's not like she's, stagnant here and, only has the 3, but how many varieties do you really need? Yeah, I don't know. And really it's listening to her customers. What are they asking for? Because the banana pudding, you said that's relatively new as well, right?
It's new. It takes a while to make too. I don't know if I have it this weekend. I don't know. I might.
That's a good question. Denise says, can you partner with a restaurant or deli to sell slices of your cakes or sell your cupcakes?
Well, I can, but that's another thing. I would have to be in a commercial kitchen. I will no longer be a cottage law baker, but I definitely can. And I've been asked by 2 different places to put my stuff in their store, but I'm not there yet.
2 things, Kimberly.
Yes, ma'am.
When is your next farmer's market that you're going to?
Saturday.
This coming Saturday?
Yes, ma'am.
Write yourself a note right now
to
have your phone available. Or is somebody working with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have your phone available when you're offering tastings of your cakes. Have up a sign. I will ask you to video while you're tasting the cake, so you can get lots of video testimonials and real, genuine reactions from people when they're tasting it.
Okay.
That will provide you with some footage you can use to build that social proof that people love to see. Secondly, those restaurants that are, or shops that are offering to market and sell your cakes, see if you can work out an agreement with them to use their kitchen part-time.
I didn't think about that.
They're already licensed. So all you have to do is establish that you're operating from a licensed kitchen, and that will expand what you can do sales-wise.
And then I could ship everywhere.
Yeah. I know I used a commissary kitchen. There was a restaurant that was close by when I was doing a farmer's market in Oregon. I had to have a commissary kitchen in order to sell food there. So I just went to a restaurant that was local and I was like, hey, would you let me use it? And so they gave it to me for really cheap. I had access to the entire kitchen whenever we worked around their catering schedule, but it worked out beautifully for me. So there's plenty of opportunities there. We're running short on time, but I do want to, I promise people I put this out on Alignable. So Tina from Consulting and Coaching with Tina says, especially when it relates to online orders, increasing that was one of the things you mentioned, generate awareness, develop content for consideration, drive conversions, and keep customers satisfied. And you do have satisfied customers. So I'm with Sandra on make sure that people know about that. It's not personal, it's business, right? So just recognizing that. Patty from Cobalt Group, her experience with growing and sustaining an online presence requires a solid business plan for the inventory you want to sell. You can't grow an online customer base by using it for market research or testing what you think might sell. You have to grow an online presence as you would any vertical of your business. So it's just looking at that. Your value proposition was mentioned. She's got a lot of things, and I'll share this with you afterwards. And then the last thing was John, he had a few questions that you need to consider. And I know that Denise was asking some of these as well. What's the biggest problem that you solve? What's your call to action? And then what Sandra asked you earlier, why would anyone buy from you versus someone else? And it's not pricing. You know, he specifically says price is not the answer. So it's really looking and understanding and identifying some of these things, and that's going to help you go a little bit farther faster.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. We are going to thank you so much for joining us, Sandra. Thank you so much for coming on here and helping Kimberly. Hopefully you can help the next business owner as well. We're trying to keep this going because we want to help people continue to grow. Kimberly, for those people that are in the DFW area, where can they find you? How can they get to you? Tell us.
So I visit the farmers market at the shops at Willow Bend. We're in the parking lot of Macy's and Crate and Barrel. The address is 6209 West Park Boulevard. And every other Saturday, I'm at Richardson Farmers Market at 101 South Coit. And if you follow my social media, I always post where I'm going to be.
Okay. And then you've got a website, correct?
Oh, yes. Kimberly'sKetoCakes.com.
All right. So you guys have it there. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure. We appreciate your vulnerability and just your willingness to share. And we wish you the best of luck with everything. Sandra, thank you so much for your expertise. Denise, same thing. You are a huge supporter and we appreciate you. But it is time for us to go into our, bye guys. It's time for us to go into, of course, it's time for us to go into It's Your Boy Fitzroy. Okay, I think we both did the same thing, Natalie. Hi, Kimberly. See you later. Okay, it's your boy Fitzroy. We're going to go ahead and play that clip.
Now that we have a business idea and a business plan set, the next step is to conduct some market research. And a great way to do that is by using pollthepeople.app. To find out what resonates with your potential clients when it comes to your business name and logo, product, how to present your product or service, brand testing, or a YouTube strategy, you can count on Poll the People to get valuable market research directly from the public. This site can help you answer questions like what Google ad design will optimize your CPC, what call to action messages will convert the most users, and what brand messaging do users prefer so you don't have to make any uneducated guesses. You can sign up for free at pollthepeople.app. With this website, your business will be the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. All right, don't get beat up out there.
Okay, so do you know what that one was from?
No, but can I point out last week I was right?
Oh, were you?
Yeah. He messaged me. He's like, you were right. It was Hulk Hogan. I was like, oh. But this one, I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. But again, so there are only certain movies or songs that I will know what it is that I could quote like that, right? So no, I'm curious to know if anyone else was aware of what that was. Let us know. Maybe there's a prize in it at some point. Maybe that is what we should do. But you've got a money minute for us, don't you?
I do, yes. So I'm going to be talking to you guys through the season about different ways that you can make money from home, as you know, because a lot of you reached out to that. I'm trying to stay away from social media stuff because you guys were like, we don't want to just be social media stuff. So I'm trying to give you some variety. You guys know I'm obsessed with Amazon. So I'm going to talk to you more about that because that is a gold mine. But tonight we're going to talk about, do you have a great voice? You can actually get paid to do voiceovers. You have an unusual voice, a high-pitched voice, or just frankly have something to say and want to do voiceovers and get paid for it. You can go to, I don't know how, Carlton was going to bring up the website for me.
I'll try and bring it up.
Okay,
what is
so it's I put it in the chat. I think it was voice.com. Yeah, voices.com. And just go in there, you sign up, and essentially what you do is you put together a portfolio And people that need people to do voiceovers go in there and hire you for freelance work, essentially. And then you get paid to do that. So whether it's they need, you know, a voiceover in a video, a voiceover for a commercial, a cartoon clip, whatever, if you fit their description, they'll reach out to you. It shows you the different pricing on them. They got paid pretty well, some of them. And you can shop around for different jobs on there and reach out to apply for them too. Did it work, Shanna?
It is finally coming up. So
okay.
I was just waiting on it.
There's a couple of them. So there's, I think it was voice.com. I put voices.com. It might be voice.com. And there's Voice Bunny, Voice123, and Snap Recording.
Okay.
Yeah, it's voices.com.
Yep.
But you can go in there and fill a little portfolio if that's something that would interest you and, you know, make some money on the side. Doing voiceovers. Personally, I think that might be kind of fun. But we did it when my sister was in design school. We made a little video that she made the cartoon of, and she used all of our voiceovers on it. It was pretty cool.
Okay, I finally was able to bring it up. Everything just went so slowly. As soon as you asked for it, it was just like, okay. And I think I signed up for this a while back, Natalie.
I thought of you, Shanna.
But I didn't do
was
anything
like, Shanna
with
has a
it.
good voice. This is
I might have just signed up because I thought it would be. I have to look. I'll look and see if I ever signed up. What I noticed though, that was they have the because it's killing my system. But yeah, they have like a free and a paid plan, you know, like pretty much anything that's out there. But I think I did sign up for it because I thought that might be fun and an easy way to make some money and do something. And I have this voice that people like listening to.
You have a good voice. I thought of you right away.
It's not as silky smooth as Fit's voice. But I thought it might be fun, you know, but one of the things that I noticed is like they want you to act it out. And so I was like, ooh, and I get to act too? What?
Yeah, I know, exactly. It's perfect for you. Let us know how your side hustle goes, Shanna.
Okay. I need to get back into it and see if I can pick up some jobs, and I'll let you know for sure. Okay. We do have a few grants that we want to cover. So last week we talked to you guys about some of the grants that are expiring. We want to show you those, but I've got a couple of new ones that I discovered today. Grants are everywhere, y'all. So this one is the High Five grants for moms, $10,000, $5,000, $2,500. Or $1,000. Well, all of those have $1,000 credit for like office furniture or what have you. You have to be a mom. It's or caregiver with human children. I love that they clarified that because a lot of people are like, oh, I've got my fur baby. You have to have a human child. You have to own at least 50% of a for-profit business. You can verify your earnings, that you earned some money with your business within the last 12 months. And then you have to know your why behind your business. And this was one of the things that Daniel was talking about earlier is when we had our conversation before the show was the purpose. A lot of business owners really need to stick to their purpose. So this organization, it's 10,000 grand prize, 5,000 first runner up, 2,500 second runner up. And then they do have that next one, like honorable mention, that's just the $1,000 credit. So there's that. I think I had one other thing. Yeah. So in order to do this, and this expires Saturday night at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, if we're at standard yet, but you're going to have to write your why on your hand, and then you're going to have to post it on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. And you need to tag both the Mama Ladder and and Lowe's Home Improvement, because those are who's sponsoring this in order for you to get that money. So make sure that you do that. We're going to post these things so that you have access to them. The next grant that we're going to look at tonight is the Atomic Grants. This is for women as well. You have to identify as a woman, must be 21 years or older. Be passionate about making change happen for yourself and others. That expires tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Central. So it's just a micro grant, but you also get coaching as well with that. Some of the other ones we're going to run through real quickly. We've already covered these, but I want you to know because they're expiring coming up soon. DoorDash expires tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. These are for restaurants that were impacted by COVID. You have to have a brick and mortar restaurant, no more than 3 locations, $10,000 grant on the line there. The next one is the everything's going so slowly, guys. Different grants that were available, all 10K, if I'm not mistaken. The Amber grants are also expiring tomorrow. Some of these are going to come back next quarter, but for the most part, just pay attention. Go to Women's Net, go to Amber, sign up. Amber, there is like a $15 fee, but it's $15 and you can get in on any of the grants that they have available. The Ink File $2,500 Young Entrepreneur Scholarship Grant is available for those in high school, undergraduate, graduate, or trade school. And then they also have one for entrepreneurs, but you've got until Saturday in order to apply for these. So do it tonight or tomorrow. Don't wait until the last minute, because when I did that with one of those, they changed the deadline on it. It was the right day, but they changed the time and I was no longer eligible. So do not wait. Go ahead and apply for these grants if you qualify.
Awesome. All right. Great show
Natalie.
tonight. Great show tonight. Thank you, Shanna, for all that you do, for the awesome stuff with the grants. It was awesome having Mr. J here tonight, just a wealth of knowledge, and having Kimberly's keto cakes. I'm excited about those. There's got to be a way to change that. I don't even understand why she has to stay where she's at. That's just wrong on so many levels. So it's awesome. I'm excited to see what happens with her business. Obviously, all the grant stuff, lots of money going away. The voiceover, we're excited to see if you start this little side hustle. You could end up on like a famous cartoon like The Simpsons or something, Shanna. You never know. So thank you, everyone who joined us tonight. We appreciate you. We are so excited. Yeah. We are so excited to spend time with you every week. We look forward to seeing you again next Thursday. I know Shanna hit it on before. We have lots of great stuff coming up with a rescore, so we will keep you posted. We appreciate you guys. Have a great week. See you soon.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a...
Maybe.
Huh?
Okay.
We're still live.